All right, welcome to episode 260 of No Putts Given. On today's episode, we got a lot to cover. Patrick Reed moving a lot of sand in a bunker. We've got a collaboration between Nike and Seamus, Miura, and Linksoul. We've got some new shoes from Asics. Be ready, old dudes. They're coming for you. And we've got Tommy Armour visiting MyGolfSpy test facility with some clubs that I think you might remember. Let's get it. No Putts Given is powered by MyGolfSpy, the most extensive reviews in golf. Before you buy, MyGolfSpy. 9 million readers do it every year. Check us out. All right, so this week, biggest topic going around the interwebs is Patrick Reed and whether or not he cheated or not. And I don't even know that there's a discussion really to be had here.
It was a bad camera angle. What are you talking about?
Tony, what do you think?
It's a lot of sand to move without noticing. I've filled in holes with less around here.
And look, everybody had like somebody they played with growing up, right? That cheated, you know?
Yeah.
You knew he cheated. He was a cheater, right? And Patrick Reed has been known as a cheater for more than just the last tournament. So at this point, you know, it's tough for him to argue away the fact that that was just a camera angle. And, you know, what do you think about this? Like if you're playing with a guy that does that in a tournament, so you're a All-American, which Tony hates to hear for whatever reason.
No, it used to be, I'd always ask Sam if he was an All-American. That was kind of
Well, we got an empty seat over here. So we got one All-American, and that's all we ever had. And it's all we still have. But as an All-American golfer, which is getting ready to go pro, you're playing in your first pro event. You are one shot. You know, you're dead even with the guy, right? You're playing with him. You see him do that. What does that make? What happened? You know, what are you thinking?
It would be tough. Like if it was like an unintentional mistake.
If you heard about this guy doing these,
if I've heard about it, then I would say, look, dude,
yeah,
what are you doing? This is like a good chunk of money. Like he was in contention to win that tournament, right?
Yeah.
And I think he lost by 2 strokes because of the penalty.
Well, it's interesting, right? For me, I don't say anything. Like if you're a cheater, you know, you got to sleep in your own bed at night, right? And deal with that, you know? But I do think subconsciously it affects you when you play. Like,
oh, for sure, yeah.
I feel like he probably, the wheels came off a little bit because of that subconsciously, that he knew that he did that and he's done it before, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just you and your buddies, it is what it is. If you're playing for like $10 here and there. But when you're playing for like millions of dollars and thousands of dollars, it definitely makes a difference. And I would probably call him out if I was winning my, say if this was my first tournament I was in contention to win. Hell yeah.
What do you think he's like one of the most despised golfers on tour by other players, Tony?
he's got to be. I mean, I can't.
What was that name you had for him the other day on Twitter?
Oh, that came from more than one of my buddies inside the industry, some of whom have worked with Patrick Reed in the past. I mean, Fat Prick Reed. I mean, that's kind of his reputation. It's obviously there's a reputation of what you see on the golf course and how he conducts himself with, you know, the shovel wedge and things like that. But, you know, people who have worked with him in that capacity, they don't speak well of him either. I mean, it's just he's not a nice guy by all accounts. So
I found it funny that because when he won the Masters, the only person to greet him at the green was the probably number 2 hated man in golf, and that was Bubba Watson. So there was 2 of them together.
Yeah, I think, you know, Mizuno had a club that would be perfect for him. I think they should probably reach out to him and try to sponsor him, the Donkey Shovel.
There you go, right? Bring back that, it's the right guy for the right wedge.
Yeah, it's the right time to bring the Donkey Shovel back, I think.
But he's not the only one that's got caught. Vijay Singh apparently got caught in the, was it Asian Tour, I think it was, by signing a wrong score at the end when everything was done.
He had a caddy that said he had some issues, correct?
Yeah,
I mean, antler spray, I remember that. Like,
yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of guys who are going to look for every advantage they can on the golf course, right? The rules are, you know, I've been told, right, the rules are there to help you. And so, I mean, guys look for ways to get around them and improve lies within the rules, right? You see questionable drops all the time and things like that, but this is something entirely different. This is, sort of cleaning up. And apart from the fact that it is a hazard, right? I suppose you could argue that what is a bunker if not just a collection of millions upon millions of loose impediments. So I mean, maybe that's the logic there, but
I don't know. I don't even think it should have been that big of a deal on anywhere because it's not like it's a shock, But I think what was more interesting is like the PGA Tour's social media accounts the next day. You could tell was trying to play like damage control by him, like signing, like being nice to some little kid out on the thing, and covering it. You're like, come on, man, like, dude's a cheater.
Well, when he says it's the camera angle, he never apologized at all. He just said it was the camera angle.
Yeah, it was on him. That was kind of the issue, right? If it had been angled away from him, it would have been fine.
Yeah, well, anyway, next up on No Putts Given is collabs or collaborations, and kind of nothing new to golf, definitely nothing new to other industries for sure. Golf just kind of got into it the last couple of years. We've done a couple of them with some different people. I've had fun. We did one with Jacques Cousteau on a really cool putter, and they're fun to do, right? And the most recent ones are Nike and Seamus that came out with a shoe, and then Miura and Linksoul came out with a four club set that runs $1,300. And so I don't know why you couldn't just buy any set and just throw away 4 clubs and keep the other 4.
But just buy 4 clubs, right? You can custom anything. But
we've got some around the corner, like the used section.
Yeah,
$20 you could go away with that.
4 infomercial clubs right there in the corner.
Boom.
There's a
collab right there.
Harry and Adam collab.
Walmart and Harry Nodwell.
But there's a lot of reasons why golf companies do them, or anybody would do them, right? One is the creative nature of them, which is the reason why I like doing them. And I think a lot of creative people probably do them. From a business standpoint, a lot of big companies probably do them or are known to do them to try to get small again, right? Try to be relevant to that, smaller. Once you get really big, it's hard to get small again.
It's hard to pull back. And I think it kind of brings them back into the light of they actually have a heart and they're not just a robot that wants to make millions and millions of dollars. They actually want to help the industry grow.
Very good point, because take Seamus Golf, right, Tony? I mean, they're about as...
The word you're looking for is authentic, right? That's kind of handcrafted, small, kind of family run, wholesome maybe, right? If you want to use that word. And if you look at the other side of that, right? Nike, you could argue that if you were to summarize its entire failure in the golf business was that it never found a way to be authentic or authentically golf, right? They're like this giant sports brand that just seemed out of place in the golf industry, and they tried to force it, right? Putting like Country Club Shield logos they did for a couple of years, things like that, but they never really kind of reached a core golfer and a traditionalist, right? A traditionalist like Seamus does. So like you said, I think it kind of gives Nike some grounding in the golf industry that they never had previously. And I think, there's certainly some rumors that they're trying to work their way back in, not with clubs, but there'll be bags and things like that. So
yeah, and they thought the logo, the shield, was enough to just slap on anything, right, and be into golf. But Seamus, like you say, the word is kind of authentic, and they happen to be in the backyard of Nike, right? So perfect kind of storm.
It looked good.
They did.
It looked really good.
And I heard they sold out pretty fast, which is no surprise.
Well, I mean, all that limited edition Nike stuff goes.
Yeah. The other one is Linksoul and Miura, and kind of cool. Yet I can see both sides of the coin in this one. It's called Color Theory, and it's basically 4 irons, and it kind of tries to take you back to being a shot shaper in traditional golf and get you away from this, smash it, 315 yards and just
That's
get up.
That's terrible. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. So I actually, we've been talking to some people recently that are in the industry and just naturally have started doing this. So I don't know if it's a new trend that's starting to happen or what, but this minimalism of getting back to, real golf shots and things like that. There are quite a few people talking about it. I don't know if that's what this really is, or if this is really just a way to kind of, I don't know, Tony, PXG really hurt their bottom line, right? I mean, like, they punched them in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, you if you go back, right, 5-6 years now before PXG really entered the market, there's certainly a case to be made that Miura was was a leader in that premium space. And I guess I would probably just define premium as 1600 and above for a set of irons, right? That was where Miura was. Obviously PXG came in a lot higher, and sort of the those guys with the money to spend gravitated there because arguably PXG had more of a performance story and was more of a performance iron. So they were winning the launch monitor battle, if you will. That's probably the best way to explain it. And obviously you've got Titleist with the Concept Series fighting in that space, and Callaway with Epic Forged and the Flash Forge Star, whatever, right there. They're super premium iron as well. So there's a lot of competition in that space that wasn't there 5 years ago. And Miura's kind of having to reinvent itself and try and find a new place to live and be successful. And it's
because let's face it, they were known for that fairy dust, magic that they put into their clubs, and at the end of the day they weren't winning any launch monitor battles, right? So as launch monitors became more and more popular, more and more people were being able to see their numbers for the first time, and now the majority of people can go anytime they want for the most part and see the truth, right?
Yep.
And PXG not only hit them with a higher price point, but they hit them with something that actually performed better than the Miuras had been known to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a performance story versus sort of a single piece, traditionally forged classic, right? Kind of again for the traditionalist, very simple, right? Simple is probably a good way to look at it too.
Yeah, so simple and traditional and classic is something I think that is pretty much gone. Some people are trying to give that back, but I think those days are over.
I think so.
There's always going to be people that want that look and think that's cool. But nowadays, man, that I just don't think that trend is going to come back, at least for a while.
I could definitely see that.
If you're trying to shoot a low score, right? And again, we talked
Exactly.
to there are different kind of golfers, right? We talk to these guys who like to go out on a Sunday with 6 clubs in their bag and just have a good time and play really simple golf because that's the way they enjoy playing. And that's fine. And I think that's who this set ultimately appeals to. Given the price point though, I got to wonder, right? I can pull 3-4 clubs out of my bag. I can take anybody else's clubs and bend them to a loft spec that kind of
Dude, let's be honest with what this set is. This set is for people that just want cool. That's it.
Well, they have money to blow as well.
Well, and I mean there is the Linksoul angle too, right? Which again, is kind of that chill Goat Hill kind of golf the way you want to kind of vibe, and I think that's who this appeals to.
How is this golf the way you want to when it's really just a blank club with a color on it and it's 4 clubs at $1,300? Golf the way you want to is go out to a thrift store and put 4 shitty clubs together
and see what you score
for $5 and go see what happens. That's doing it how you want to. This is trying to be cool. This is trying to be a hipster.
It's like I said, I think if you're going to do this, Linksoul is an awesome partner to have because it really fits with that particular vibe.
Well,
but
it gives you the authenticity of being...
Yeah, like authentically chill, right? That's kind of like, whereas Miura is very classic, very traditional.
But there's nothing less authentic about being chill than just hooking up with somebody that's chill that makes you look more chill. Like, that's just lame.
Why do I need to buy 4 clubs for $1,300 to be cool? But then you can flip it again.
Well, it's no different than PXGs.
You can flip it like that. You could do anything. So there is a market for these.
I think there's less and less of a market for that stuff. Definitely every year.
This is something nobody else is doing, right? And one of the key things when you're trying to sell golf clubs is finding a way to differentiate yourself. And I don't know if a 4 club set is
make better products.
Well, yeah.
I get that. It's a differentiation, but I think it's lame because all it is, hey, let's be different to be different, and hopefully we sell some sets and look cool. But this ain't cool, man. This is desperate, in my opinion.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like it's nothing I saw and was like, ooh, I gotta have that, But again, I'm not a 4 club golfer.
I think it's what you said. It's Miura going, who the hell are we now, right? We sold out. We've been bought by someone else. They've got a different vision, a modern vision for Miura, which I actually think there needed to be one.
They have shifted some of the line into that performance iron space designed to compete, but it's they lost so much ground so fast.
Yeah, they were 10 years behind, if not more.
Well, do you think Miura's name's completely changed? Like, when I first came over here, and I was playing golf in college, everyone was like, "Oh, you got a Miura wedge or something like that." That Miura was like gold dust, and it was hard to come by. And you got it, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I play."
I think
Miura.
it depends on who you are. If you're in the industry and you know who owns it now versus who before, then you probably know things have changed. If you're somebody that isn't really.
But I don't hear that. I don't hear that anymore.
No, I think Harry's right.
I don't really hear. Miura is the big name where, oh yeah, I've got a Miura club. It's like, all right, you got Miura, that's fine. Great.
No, I think if you're for the guy who just kind of has heard of a brand and never seen it, really is kind of like that guy. It's probably the PXGs or the Concepts or something like that, right? Sort of an elevated mainstream or closer to the mainstream offering. And yeah, I think some of the shine's probably come off Miura in the last several years.
So we're talking a lot about collabs in golf and tons of collaborations going outside of golf. More are starting to happen in golf. Do you think golfers really give a damn about collaborations?
I mean, ultimately, really depends if you care about one company or the other or both. There's some stuff where you're like, who gives a damn? Like this one, Miura and Linksoul is kind of interesting if it appeals to you. But if I'm thinking like, where could something really cool come from? I'm like, how about CALLAWAY x TAYLORMADE, right? Something like that, where these two behemoths, the industry leaders, put their heads together and take the best of their technologies and go, yeah, you know what, we're gonna put aside these rivalries for a little bit and just make something really awesome just one time.
Oh my
Damn,
God.
CALLAWAY and TaylorMade would be pretty cool. It'd be like the end of it'd be like Christmas time, like during the World War One, where they came together in the middle of the.
Are you talking about the soccer game in the snow?
Yeah, the soccer game in the snow. There you go.
Yeah, see,
No Man's Land. Boom.
No Man's Land.
I got there eventually.
That's a real thing. It happened.
Yeah,
And
but it
limbo.
would have been cool though if that actually happened.
Dude,
and
if
they'd come
TaylorMade and
together.
CALLAWAY collaborate on something, that would be the most authentic, badass collaboration ever in the history of golf, period, bar none, because there are so many, like, real hate. I mean, like...
Oh, man,
like,
yeah, it's like...
real hatred.
There's some legitimately, like, bad, tainted, spoiled, rotten blood there. Like, it's... Yeah. Like, you legitimately don't like each other.
All right, but if you... On the flip side... What about having two other brands that haven't got any beef with each other?
Here's what I like about those collabs, Harry. Like the collabs that wouldn't be about like, hey, let's do this because this would be cool by connecting that cool company and us that's not that cool. If it would just be like, hey, man, like you guys do really good work and we love how you do this and we think we can add something to that by doing what we do really well. That's a badass collaboration in my opinion.
Well, yeah, you'd love. I mean, as a golfer and a consumer, right? You would love to see it be driven by, like, let's put our heads together and make a really awesome product. Let's truly collaborate and do something unique. Not you guys make a shoe and I have a logo, so let's put my logo on your shoe and tweak it a little so that it seems more like me, but it's still you. And it's. These are marketing stories, right?
All right. Question for you, Tony. What would be a badass collaboration? Take all the bygones and let them go by the wayside and just go, man, what would be really cool?
I mean, I think, like I said, TaylorMade and CALLAWAY collaborating on a driver that takes, like, even if you just say, hey, you take the best of your last 10 years and we take our last 10 years and we put them all together. And I mean, yeah, USGA, and maybe you say, you know what, screw it. We're gonna make this thing non-conforming and just have some fun with it, which neither company would ever do. But I'm just saying, hey, if we're dreaming here, right?
Dude, how cool would that be, man? What do you think, Harry?
No, I would love
What
that.
are you thinking in your head? Like a collaboration of like pizza and like, well, I see your head. I see some
No, I'm
ideas
trying to think
churning.
of like, I would like to see Titleist and Mizuno get together.
Ooh, and do what, an iron?
I would say a 9, yeah. And I was going to go down the putters, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could really do with just companies in general coming together.
Yeah, and I mean, you see other things like, I think the one, and again, I'm not suggesting anybody's for sale, okay? This is not a rumor. This is just me, like, looking at the industry and going, like, Cobra makes some really great golf clubs, and Bridgestone makes a really good ball, right? And, like, that's a brand right there if those two got together, right?
So you're talking about like putting a ball inside of a driver?
Well, no, I'm like, if
I'm so confused about what your mind's going on about.
No,
right
I'm
now.
just like, hey, like,
You're saying if Cobra bought Bridgestone or Bridgestone bought Cobra, it would be really good to have like a full lineup of clubs that Cobra could go do what they do really well and Bridgestone could do what they do really well.
And and then you have sort of like more power from, this.
So you're not talking about a collab, you're talking about a merger and acquisition.
Well, I mean, let's Voltron this thing, right? But yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that, and maybe
This is going off
you
base.
you would just love to see like one company that just like kills everything.
How about if Callaway just buys TaylorMade, TaylorMade buys Cobra, and Cobra buys Bridgestone?
Like you joke, but it feels like, man, we're slowly working towards that, right?
FootJoy could buy Skechers.
Here's one. What about... that would be a really good one. Arcos. Bushnell.
Ooh. What about this?
That's going
what
straight
about
in my
this?
basket.
An umbrella with a gutter.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
If a gutter company, our local good gutter company, could
Sorry,
buy
it's Tony's
a golf
company.
umbrella company,
I'm telling you, I've got that's just my idea with the graphite.
Tony, like, you're a smart guy, and I don't know if that's going to get off the ground.
that's not your smartest.
Yeah, it's not your
Ted's
smartest
balls is probably his smartest. No one knows about Ted's balls yet, but I can tell you what.
I'm telling you. There's a project.
You sent me like a whole script.
Oh yeah, no, I still have it.
Tony
yeah.
sends me this like recording. I'm like, what in the hell is this? And Tony's like reading a commercial for a golf ball company called Ted's Balls, and I'm like, he's serious about this.
I'm glad he spends his time
He's not
doing
joking
Ted
around.
Balls.
I haven't had that much of thought put into something. Like there was no bullshitting around. He was like, we're doing this. I said,
Yeah,
okay.
no, we should do Ted's balls.
I don't know how he got to Ted's Balls, but I would like to see a collab. TaylorMade and Callaway, that would be a really good collab.
That would be the ultimate golf collaboration.
Oh, it is.
for
I mean,
sure.
it is like that's the one.
If they did a full bag, that would be even better. But if they just came
No,
together
like
with
a non-conforming driver,
a big ass driver, yeah.
the Moed,
Yeah, Moed plus some flash face
plus some AI
Yeah, there
with
you
a
go.
computer in it. I still think, I don't know if you remember, there was a patent by Cleveland probably 10 years ago now that had the launch monitor inside of the driver head. Do you remember that?
I remember and I think Nike had some stuff with sensors in clubs, and then you realize like, oh, this is really cool, and then you're like, but it probably is going to be really difficult to make it stay in place, and obviously we constantly talking about weight penalties and mass properties and things like that, and you're just like, yeah,
Perfect transition to the next topic.
Wilson.
Wilson has a new fairway, a whole set of woods called the Launchpad.
Yeah.
Woods, irons, right? Whole thing.
Yeah. Brought me back to when we were on Driver versus Driver 2, and one of the contestants had designed a driver called Launchpad. And it actually looked really cool. Some people were getting good numbers on it. Sam and I both hit it, the prototype, on the first day. And the concept was that the top was removable so that you could take the top off and then change all these weights internally inside, right? Problem was we put the top on and the first shot blew the top right off the driver. Like literally like a launch pad. It just blew off.
Launched it right up, yeah.
So anyway, when I saw this, Tony was like, man, is that what this is going to be? Doesn't look like that's the case, right, Tony?
No, I will admit to being disappointed. It's not a knock on the Wilson product. Like it's in that slower swing speed space that seems to be growing more and more. But yeah, when I saw Launchpad, I'm like, oh, are they doing it? Have they figured out a way to make the crown stay on this thing? Because Wilson isn't the first, and the driver versus driver Launchpad wasn't the first time that this removable crown design has been attempted. I know others that have tried it. I've spoken to them about it, and they said, when they saw the Wilson one, basically the response was, good luck, we tried it. You just can't get the crown to stay on. There's just too much force at impact. So it's not that. So
How about what's that one that you, like, if it's leaking water, you stick that tape on it? What's that called?
Yeah, the Flexi Seal.
Flexi seal, like
Flex Seal.
just flex this and stick a tape
You
on
talking
it,
about
and
like
then
that
boom.
plexiglass boat that's all like sprayed
Yeah.
with Flex Seal?
Maybe you can just stick a bit of tape on it.
Hey, the golf industry needs some new materials. Flex Seal might be where it's at. I don't know.
That's a Flex Seal crown. There you go.
Yeah.
Blam.
So anyway, Wilson has a whole new line called Launchpad. By the way, Kyle Mays, the guy that runs Cart Barn Guys, he voted for Launchpad to be the winner, but the top blew off of it. So anyway, the hybrid iron that they have actually is pretty cool, and it's an emerging category, would you say, Tony?
Oh yeah, I mean Tour Edge has been in there for years, going back to like the Bazooka line, right, where it's like a hybrid iron, almost a hybrid all the way through the wedge, and Cleveland with what is it, the high
Yes,
board,
it
right?
looks it looks just like Cleveland.
Right, and so you've got
Yeah.
those like I said, Tour Edge for a long time, Cleveland for the last 3-4 years maybe, whatever that is, and then Cobra with T-Rail, which I think is just absolutely awesome. That one's just a lot of fun, and now Wilson, and you're seeing I think what you're starting to see in general is an acknowledgement that the golfing population is getting older and we're losing speed, right? And so we're going to need more help getting the ball in the air. And so rather than sort of jack the lofts and have 18-degree 9-irons, which seems to be about where we're headed, and talk about 10 more yards with a 7-iron or whatever the hell it is that you want to get excited about, it's just like, hey, this is really easy to hit and you can get it in the air and it'll go straight. You should try it. And
well, are you seeing a part of the industry where they're going to the hybrid sets where it's easy to get the ball up because of the CG and all that stuff, and then you're seeing a side that's more jack lofts, let's hit it further. You're not seeing traditional loft irons, which some pros like to still have.
You've got to go to like a true blade to get close. But again, even with a blade now, they're pushing center of gravities lower, so you're getting more launch, higher launch for your loft, and so it does actually make sense to strengthen those lofts a little bit in some cases. Where you run into a problem is for the guy who has lost so much head speed that he can't convert that static loft into the dynamic loft that sort of the design allows for. So if you're not getting the benefit, right, if you're not adding loft at impact because that center of gravity is low and deep and your shaft is flexing and giving you that, if you're not doing that, then these jack lofts you're seeing on almost everything are going to hurt you. Now for higher swing speed guys and even medium speed guys, some of that stuff is still playable. But man, if you're the aging golfer who's losing speed, you can't get that stuff in the air. So
I think I've just solved the industry for traditional lofts. If you're losing speed that way, have like a little explosion on the back of the club where it generates that little kick point and then bang.
A little M80 in the back.
It could be like, all right, you're too slow.
Hey, we had that, the piston.
What was that club with the
piston
CO'd cartridge?
It was it was a shotgun shell.
It was called a piston driver, and you could you
just put it right behind the ball and press a button.
It was 220 yards every time.
Yeah. Well, you could actually dial it back, right?
Yeah, you could dial it back to like 50 yards, I think.
Yeah. How much was that club? Do you remember?
I think it was $1,000.
$1,000 for that driver.
Didn't you have some issues trying to get that through security going to Orlando last year?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Security. They got us. Are you carrying a gun onto the plane? Kind of.
It's more distance, sir.
Yes.
Well, so if you are somebody that has troubles, once again, getting it up, kind of like the Cobra F Max, Wilson has a product for you called the Launchpad, the hybrid set, and the irons. And, the fairway woods and the drivers can help with that as well. And speaking of aging demographics, or the aging demographic, John Barbara, the Asics.
It's fine.
Asics has a new golf shoe. So Cleveland Srixon Asics, or Cleveland Srixon Zexio Asics now, right? So Asics has released a new shoe that is golf specific. And, you get kind of a polarizing debate, right? You've got the younger golfer that goes, there ain't no way in hell I'm wearing this. And then you got a combination of a couple things on this side. Let's take, for example, running, right? A runner that loves Asics doesn't give a damn what their Asics shoe looks like. When that new model comes out the next year, it could be purple, pink, orange, green, yellow. They buy it because they know that's the same shoe they had last year, right? Maybe a minor improvement, and it's a great running shoe. So you have the person that knows that to be true in the running category, sees Asics come out with a shoe in golf and goes, I would give it a shot. And then you also have the aging demographic that doesn't really care as much necessarily about, having the hottest, coolest looking shoe.
New Balance.
Yeah, and just says, hey, is this thing functional for walking 1827 and it isn't going to hurt my body, right? So anyway, they've got some interesting looking models. You've got some early opinions on them. I know that you weren't that impressed with the comfort level of them comparatively speaking to some others,
well,
right?
Not the comfort in general. It's just the way the material folds into your foot.
Well, that was with one.
With the one shoe, yes. Yeah. The other one is very, very comfortable.
Okay.
The only thing with it is I didn't do a big enough test, but the stability within the shoe might lack a little bit purely because it's like a mesh material. It's one of those ones where...
Does it seem like they didn't build a real golf shoe specific for golf? Like, like when we try shoes that do really good in the shoe testing, you can tell that there was some thought put into the motion of a golf swing, right?
Yeah.
And what needs to be there.
And where to put the weight and stability. And
do you think Asics just took a running shoe and made it waterproof for golf?
I can't really... I don't know. It looks like it, but...
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to putting it to the test because that's where we'll find out if it's really up to standard or not.
I think it's great that there's another option.
For sure, yeah.
And, there's some really bad golf shoes. Really bad golf shoes. I mean, really bad. Like, shockingly bad when we test them,
yeah,
right?
like 20 years old. Like, stuck 20 years in the past.
There's certain names that have become beloved by golfers, and when we test them, I see no reason why they should be loved by golfers.
Well, take FootJoy, for example, the dry joys.
Okay.
Where you can get them spec'd. They're so heavy that your feet and your legs are tired at the end of an 18-hole round.
Well, here's what I would say. I'd say FootJoy is overrated in my opinion in regards to performance, but they have an option for almost every type of golfer, right?
That is
the sizing, yeah.
They got every single thing.
They have a huge range, and their sizing, like, they can fit your foot guaranteed. Now, not everybody buys the right size.
Not only can they fit your foot, but they can fit your preference on stability, which some companies that make golf shoes give you one shoe and that's all you get, right?
Here it is, yeah.
Yeah, so the strength of FootJoy, in my opinion, is the fact that they can drill down to the specific characteristics an individual golfer desires, right? But I think Asics coming into golf shoes could get better very quickly.
I agree, yeah. They have so many different running shoes for different people. I'm not sure how hard it would be to implement that into a golf shoe, but...
And I think they've already sold a set to Barba, so...
Any BOA models?
Yep.
All right.
Oh,
yeah, you're an aging demographic. You're up there.
I am aging rapidly.
You look younger today with that beard shave, man.
I know, yeah. I feel like a new man.
The only problem I have with BOA is...
You shut your mouth.
I guess if you don't have that two... All right, sandwiches. If you don't have that two BOA system where you can tighten the side... When I tightened the top, it didn't mold to the mid part of my foot on the top, and it kind of left it loose, and then it caused the crease when I'm walking. Seriously, you laughing about it, but it's gonna annoy the shit out of you when you start walking.
I love BOA. I don't know what you're talking about. Laces are for suckers. We've covered this.
Hey, I've always wanted to see an alien, and BOA just makes me...
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Tony then. I was like,
that's why I love BOAs.
Oh, dude.
My in-laws were here last weekend, and my nephew, who's like 18 months, was here, and he was wearing his little Velcro shoes, and I thought of you.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm a big Velcro fan, to be honest.
Hey, don't hate on Velcro, man. You know you love it.
If you could make Velcro look like even a little cool, like
it is cool.
Board.
What are you on
I'd
about? It's Velcro.
Just think if you could put like more Velcros like BOA, like Velcro like kind of on the side area,
if you had Velcro shoes just everywhere, Velcro, and then put a wheelie on the bottom, Matt would buy them.
Well,
Matt would buy those.
Yeah, our video guy, just so everybody knows, when he first started working here, I was like doing work in the office, and I was like, dude, this guy's like gliding, like how in the like what is this guy's just like zooming by me? I'm like, what is going on? And
he's got his wheelies.
He's like, haven't seen those in a while.
It's like you joke about the way the BOA dials look and things like that. Like FootJoy, I believe, has an exclusive on BOA on the back of a shoe. So they tuck it away on the heel, and Adidas can't put it there because I don't know how the licensing works and whatever. But basically, so Adidas has to put it in other places.
Got that exclusive back heel UFO.
Yeah, so,
Hey, what if they put wheelies on golf shoes, but they were almost like golf carts, so like powered you through like down the.
This feels like one for Randy. That's
fried eggs golf.
That's a Randy problem. Yeah.
Put some rockets on his shoes.
He needs to invent one.
Beverly Hills Country Club.
Yeah.
Or whatever he calls his golf course.
I could just see it though. I could see him going, and it'll go too far, and it'll just faceplant into some like cowpat.
I think his dad would end up in the pond. All right, well, that's enough. That's enough about Asics shoes. By the way, this week, Tommy Armour visited MyGolfSpy and brought what they will be coming out with in 2020. And Tommy Armour, for those that don't know, is the house brand for Dick's, right? And Tommy Armour was a huge name for a long time. The 845 still to this day is one of the most famous set of irons during the 90s that was, ever sold, right? And anybody that had a set remembers them and has fond memories of them and can always kind of remember where they were when they saw their first set. It's just it's one of those sets, that everybody kind of remembers. And this year, they will be coming back out with the 845s. Tommy Armour, first couple years, was trying to find their place, right? And they were hardcore dedicated to making it a serious brand. And obviously, there's people out there that joke about Tommy Armour right now because it's in Dick's and it's a house brand.
Well, and you got to remember too, right? There was that period of time where it was the house brand at Sports Authority, right? And
yes.
It just wasn't like it was at Dick's for a while, and then it was at Sports Authority, and it was dirt cheap, and the quality was piss poor. So it's understandable, and we know golfers have long memories. So I guess the takeaway here is like it's not that garbage anymore.
Yeah,
far from it.
Yeah, so starting from where they go, they're going to a very good, respectable foundry. The foundry they get their stuff from makes most of the really high-end Japanese brands. So Mariman, the list goes on, PRGR, the list goes on and on, right? They also do some really popular brands here. So really the issue that Tommy Armour I see has is finding their place and being considered as a serious brand under a house brand name. And to do that, you have to do a few things. You have to establish yourself as that, right? And they've got a foundation for that, I think, with the ball. It's starting, meaning that Max Fly ball is a good ball. It's a consistent ball. They've got some proprietary tech that no one else really uses. So they've kind of got a space there, some real estate that's theirs. Where they need to hit their stride is in their club line.
I agree, yep.
And they tried some few things that didn't do bad, believe it or not. The putter obviously won the last 2 years in the mallet category, so it's legit. Even though the quality might not be like full milled, it performs at $99. And I don't know another product we've tested for $99 that's won 2 years in a row. So the putter did well. The ball did very well in our test. So they've got two things, right? But they were trying kind of like TaylorMade did with wedges for years. Every year they were trying something different, right, with clubs. Now this year is the 845s, and I think they can, if they stick to that family and just kind of evolve it.
I think they're going to do very, very well.
Yeah.
And it might take a couple of years or a year or so for people to really take them seriously. But this product is nice.
Yeah, so people can say what they want, man, but two things that stepped out and got my attention right away were two things. Was when I walked in and saw the putters, right? They've got a new 100% milled series of putters, and I'm not saying they're going to perform better, but they are taking the serious golfer seriously when they're making product.
It's cool.
And they have really high-end head covers. They've got really nice mill job by the foundry that's doing their work, and an interesting story behind the chili peppers that goes on each different putter.
That was
really
funny.
Cool. And then the next thing is the 845 forged irons. And, granted, we're going down a line and looking at a bunch of clubs, and then we're hitting them, right? And the first thing we did was set down that forged iron and went, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that thing looks real, right? That's AP2 right there.
It looks like a Titleist AP2.
Exactly. Like
and then you look at it on the back, and it looks like a Titleist.
Yeah, the new ones. The TS series.
Yeah.
And then when you hit it, it's a forged hollow body. And the face is the same material that PXG uses in theirs. I don't know if they use it in all theirs, but it's the HT 1770, Tony, is that right?
That sounds right. HT 17 something, sure.
Yeah.
Miraging steel.
Yeah, so we have all the heads there broken down with all the tech in them, and it's legit,
It felt good.
Now the irons are strong lofted. It's a player's distance iron, so it is what it is, right? What was the 7-iron?
Well, yeah, with the Atomics, right? Last year were like super strong.
Super strong, yeah.
Yeah, they were really strong.
I can't remember what the 7-iron was.
I think it's a degree weaker than the Atomics.
Yeah, which is still strong.
Yes.
No, it's not competing with the Launchpad. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So strong lofted iron is what it is, but feel wise, I'm going to tell you right now, this thing feels as good as almost any forged iron you are going to hit.
Yeah. Well, for those out there that want to know just a quick spin rate, I was spinning it about 47 to 5,000 revs
with the 6
with a
or 7.
And that's a little bit low.
That's a jacked iron.
Yep.
And I spin my 7-iron My Srixon 785s, about 5'4".
Okay, so 500 less.
Yeah, and
Player
they
assistance.
were going further, but am I gonna hold greens with them?
Well, it depends on your descent angle and stuff like that,
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly.
So but how are they pricing them? Because that's the thing, right? Can you differentiate yourself? Like if I'm going into a Dick's and there's a Tommy Armour next to, let's say, a Callaway, and they're priced about the same, no, tough sell.
Here's the advantage Dick's has, right? Or one of the advantages, I guess. They've got 3 tiers of stores: the Pro Plus, the Pro, and then the average store, right?
It's just Dick's.
Yeah. Exactly. So I asked him, I said, okay, what's our local store? Which is a really big Dick's store, but it's based on the square footage of the golf area, right? So our golf area isn't that big. It's the lowest tiered. And the service in there is not great, And it's not up to snuff with what we would like to see, right? But the Pro Plus stores is where they're going to put their top tier irons. The 845 forwards are going to be $9.99, but only available from what I remember in Pro Plus stores, okay? Then the next one, they learned their lesson from last year, and they brought their prices down. They're going to be $4.99 for the full set in the other stores.
For irons.
Yes.
$500 for a set of irons.
Drivers are going to be $249 or $299. Full milled putter. I don't know of a 100% milled putter that's cheaper than this. 100% milled putter at $249, and then the putter's still $99.
Well,
okay?
here's the tough thing about it is if you price them too low, you're not taken seriously. If you price them too high, you might as well get like a Titleist or one of those guys.
That's true, but golf has offered up this great opportunity for companies right now to hit that middle
I agree,
area.
and I think they're going to do it.
So, yep. So they're going to be in that tour edge pricing range, right? So it'll be interesting to see. And granted, they're not going to be in every place that you can go get fit. It's Dick's brand.
I would go drive to go hit those irons or go buy those irons because we just hit them and I couldn't put it down.
Well, that's what I would say. Like if you haven't considered the Tommy Armour brand to be something that you would try, I would say this year if you get the opportunity, at least do a couple things. And if you're only going to try one, try the 845 forged iron.
If money is an object, right? Like that's...
Yep. And if you're not the driver, I would say this year they're leaning towards something that would be a fit for a broader stroke of golfer. So a little bit for draw biased golfer. But it felt great too. Better than last year's driver.
A lot better than last year's driver. I mean, I couldn't put the eyes down.
Last year, at least from our data, seemed like a step back from the previous year. So
I would agree.
For what that's worth.
And the problem that they had last year too was the crown, and that was just I couldn't take that serious. It just didn't look good. It had like the turbulator type styling, but on the top.
Right, yeah.
And it was just like really raised, like 10 raised fins.
Yeah.
And it was just like let's do this to do this, not let's do this and actually achieve something by doing it. So,
but they have a dedicated team to make sure that Tommy Armour is a brand to take seriously.
Yeah, I would say that I'm impressed with the level of seriousness they're putting behind the brand. Is what I would say.
From a foundry standpoint, from going to a place that has great credibility and make a good product.
Yep.
And they're spending the money to make sure the consumer gets a good product in their hands. So
yeah, and they're going to do some interesting things this year, and they've got a really interesting 3-year plan that tells me that they're serious about evolving the brand. So anyway, Tommy Armour, if you get a chance, give them a shot. Definitely the ball for sure. I think any golfer should give that golf ball a try. See if it's a good fit for you.
What ball was that?
It's the Max Fly golf balls that they have.
Yep.
So
for everyone out there.
Anyway, other than that, the last thing is kind of just to let everybody know what's happening inside the MyGolfSpy studio, things that have arrived at the studio, things that are getting ready to happen at the studio, just so you can kind of have an understanding of that. And
this will be good because I'm not there. I don't know.
So one thing is most wanted testing starts
Monday.
For
2020. We start in 2019.
Yeah, so the only brand that still hasn't gotten back to us is still TaylorMade. So
tomorrow's the deadline.
TaylorMade. We'd love to have you in it, and I'm sure a lot of other golfers would.
Call me.
Other than that, what starts Monday specifically?
Drivers,
and then putters after that.
And then putters, I'm going to try and sneak in just before Christmas, if not just after Christmas.
To start that.
Yeah.
All right. And then that also means that our new golf ball that we're using for testing this year will also be here, correct?
That will be here tomorrow.
And what's that?
It's a secret.
It's a secret. Is it
Yeah,
still
we
a
already
secret?
told people. We already told people we were moving.
Secret's out.
The new,
All right, well,
well,
it's
I mean,
not a secret.
It's we are not allowed to disclose any of the technology. Not that it's been fully disclosed to us. We've gotten hints here and there, but yeah, we mentioned it. We are moving to the new 2020 Tour BX and moving away from the RX, which we've used in the past. So,
And who's playing that ball right now?
well,
Isn't Bryson?
it's the Bryson ball. It's the Lexi ball. So it's it's a higher compression ball than we used in the past. It's going to be faster, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna and it. The other thing for us is we think we're gonna see a little higher spin rates on irons and wedges, which is something we like to see.
Speaking of soft, Matt made a new Giphy for Instagram followers. Type in MyGolfSpy on your Instagram Giphy.
Check it out.
Yep, hashtag thing and see the new one that he came out with today. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off. Other than that, we also have a new driver that came in from Honma that just hit the USGA list called the TR20, and you've got to see that, correct?
Just about when I was leaving to come here, it arrived in the studio, and they have a 460 model and a 440 model
Okay.
for a little bit more workability, and it looks good.
I talked to somebody at one of the foundries recently and said, what is the coolest project you've been working on in the last X amount of years? And he said, the Honma for 2021. So
Yeah.
It's crazy, like how far out they are with prototypes and trying
Yeah.
to
It is
validate
nuts.
designs and seeing if the shit they're cooking up in the kitchen will actually work.
But to speak to somebody that's been a player at one of those founders for a very long time and to ask them what's the coolest thing, to hear the name Honma be in that and not a TaylorMade or Callaway was kind of shocking, right? And go, man, they're really coming after it,
Well,
this
I
year
mean,
and next.
the new Honma guys, right, are old school TaylorMade guys for the, some of them anyway, right? So there's TaylorMade in that DNA, and that's a company that historically has known how to make drivers, and so you would assume that the guys moving over and going to Honma have a good idea what they need to do as well. So not surprising.
Just because it's Honma in general, they're a new brand that comes to North America. It's one of those exciting ones that I'm really like, I really want to test that club. And I'm lucky enough to test it against every driver on the market pretty much.
Well,
So
what's cool for us, right, is like the TaylorMade Callaways we're going to test, right, every year.
I'm excited to still test those.
But the new brands are cool. Like for this year, you've got the Honmas. you've
Links
got
are in.
PXG, you've got Links, you've got Inesis from France that's got some interesting
Yeah,
products.
which
you've got
hopefully
Tommy
they're going to
Armour.
be in there. Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the field across the board and who is, so Callaway is back participating voluntarily for the first time in 4 years, give or take. It's been a while. Ben Hogan skipped last year. They're back. We've got in the driver test just about everything you could think of that you would consider a legitimate brand, from beginning with the lower priced offerings like Tour Edge and Sub 70 and all the way up to the premium stuff, the PXGs and obviously the Callaways and the Titleists and just kind of that mass market stuff and everything in between. And, with a cross fingers, TaylorMade will be in as well. But that is really at this point, and that is pending, right? They haven't told us no, that one is pending, and they are legitimately the only major brand and even mid-sized brand and arguably even smaller brand that's not fully on board with us this year, and that's really exciting. And certainly we're just really excited and just thank you everybody. I mean, just it's awesome. Just really grateful too. Like this is like we've worked hard at this, and to see that we've got widespread buy-in to what we're doing and how we do things and what we put into every one of these tests. Like it's just super cool.
It's an exciting time to be at MyGolfSpy for
This
sure.
2020 will be by far the best, most wanted year of testing that we've ever had. We've gotten better every year, I think, but I think what we've worked on for the last probably couple months, there's going to be some cool new features in 2020 testing. We're going to have probably the best field in all the testing we've had. We've gotten the data will be the best that we've had. I think the displays that we're working on to help golfers find those products will be the best that we've ever done. So I think by far this is going to be the best year for consumers to find the right product for them via MyGolfSpy if they come to us. And like you said, just grateful that it's pretty cool. Like MyGolfSpy has been doing this 10 years now, and I do think we have made a difference in the industry, and I think that the testing has made a difference in the industry. I think it's helping golfers, and now to get the industry participating more in that voluntarily, like you said, Tony, is a good thing for all parties involved, in my opinion. And that starts with the consumer, right? So, yeah.
We're always looking for testers. So if you are in the Hampton Roads area, in Virginia, Newport News, Yorktown, all that kind of stuff, we're always looking for new testers. So please either hit me up on harry.nodwell@mygolfspy.com or contact at MyGolfSpy. Always looking for new testers. Doesn't matter handicap. We can... Well, I'll take that back. The handicap cutoff is 18. But for those guys who are like a higher handicap, you could be fantastic at driving and not as good as putting, but we'll have a test for you that we can get to your strengths. So we're always looking for you guys.
And what, just before we got started the show today, what was the golf tour that you were talking about joining next year?
Possibly Swing Thought.
If anybody knows anything about the Swing Thought golf tour, let Harry know.
You know anything about that rider? Yeah. Swing Thought?
Or if anyone knows of a tour that you think I should give a go, just DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and I really want to know your thoughts because I'm in between tours right now.
In between tours, yeah. Me too.
Just kind of yeah.
All right. So, anything else that you would like to talk about? I know that there's a black box that you can't talk about.
I can't. Apparently, Tony said no.
Tony said you can't talk.
Yeah, he's like my dad. He's like, no, cannot talk about that.
Put it this way: it's the coolest box in golf. That might be a hint.
Yeah, you screw that. I'm the guy that has to deal with it. So.
Yes. Oh, I want to tell him now.
You looking forward to the PGA show this year, Tony?
No.
No.
I am. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to most? Riding that Finn scooter again?
That is pretty cool. You like that?
You look cool.
I look cool, right? I mean, 65% of them said I look cool.
It's good. I mean, it is good to see everybody, and a lot of these people you only see once, maybe twice a year, so it's good to catch up.
All right, that's it, everybody, for this week of No Putts Given, episode 26. Got a comment, leave one. Got a review, we'd love to see it, hear it, read it, whatever. And until next week, we out.